Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table on a Thursday evening, reviewing the monthly bills, when your wife walks in from girls' night and drops her phone in front of you like it's a legal summons. "I already booked the hotel suite at Borgata," she announced, not asked. "3 nights in Atlantic City. The girls and I deserve this for my birthday. Not we should go, not what do you think, not can we afford it. Just a statement of fact, like she was informing me the trash needed to go out." I looked up from the stack of credit card statements showing $4,200 in outstanding balances from her previous 3 girls' trips and knew this conversation wouldn't end well. "That sounds expensive," I said carefully. "How much are we talking about?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't start with the money lecture. I work hard. I deserve to celebrate my birthday however I want. This is happening in 2 weeks whether you like it or not." This wasn't the woman I married 7 years ago. That woman used to discuss major purchases. That woman used to care about my opinion. This woman standing in my kitchen was someone different, someone shaped by her new co-workers at the insurance company. 3 divorced women who spent their lunch breaks convincing everyone around them that independence meant doing whatever you wanted without considering anyone else. "Which friends are going?" I asked. "The usual group from work. And before you start judging them, they're successful women who know how to have fun." Successful. One was on her 2nd divorce and living in her sister's basement. Another posted daily rants about her ex-husband while asking her parents for rent money. The third had blown through her divorce settlement in 8 months and was now working 2 jobs to stay afloat. These were her role models. "We still owe $1,800 from Miami 3 months ago," I reminded her. "Maybe we should pay that off before planning another trip." She laughed, actually laughed. "We're not broke. Stop acting like we can't afford anything fun. You're just jealous because I have friends and you sit home alone every weekend." That stung because it wasn't true. I stayed home because someone had to be responsible while she was out spending money we didn't have. Someone had to pay the mortgage, the utilities, the car payments she conveniently forgot about when planning her adventures. "My birthday, my money, my decision. Period," she said, picking up her phone and walking away. End of discussion. I sat there looking at the bills, doing the mental math I'd been avoiding. Combined income of $142,000 a year should have been comfortable. Instead, we were drowning in debt because she'd spent $12,400 in 6 months on what she called self-care and personal development. The next day, I discovered something that made my blood run cold. A credit card statement arrived for an account I didn't recognize. She'd opened a new card without telling me. Pre-approved offer, $7,500 limit. Current balance, $2,100. When I confronted her that evening, she didn't even pretend to feel guilty. "I needed a card for emergencies," she said. "This is my card, not yours." "Emergency purchases like what?" I asked, scanning the statement. "Sephora, Nordstrom, 3 different restaurants, a spa." She snatched the statement from my hands. "I don't need to justify my spending to you. I make my own money." Except she conveniently forgot that we had joint accounts, joint bills, and joint financial responsibilities. Her money was as much mine as mine was hers, but only when it was convenient for her to remember that. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched her transform into someone I barely recognized. She came home from shopping trips with bags from Nordstrom, Saks, and designer boutiques. "I need outfits for Atlantic City," she explained when I asked about the $1,400 in charges. "Can't show up looking average." When I suggested maybe she didn't need 6 new outfits for a 3-day trip, her response was immediate and venomous. "Stop trying to control what I wear. My friends warned me you'd do this." Her friends. The ones who'd been divorced 7 times between them. I'd overheard one of her FaceTime calls earlier that week. "He's being such a baby about it," she'd told them. "Just like your ex was." They'd coached her through every objection I might raise. Armed her with responses about financial abuse and controlling behavior. 5 days before the trip, she came home with fresh nails, new hair, and a facial glow. The receipt she left on the bathroom counter showed $300 for a spa appointment. I pointed out that we hadn't been on a date in 4 months because money was tight. Her response cut deep. "Maybe if you made more money, I wouldn't have to justify self-care." That's when I realized this wasn't about Atlantic City or her birthday. This was about power. She was testing me to see how far she could push, how much disrespect I would tolerate. She wanted me to beg, to plead, to give her a reason to call me controlling so she could justify whatever she was planning. But I don't beg. And I definitely don't plead. 6 days before departure, she posted on social media. 14 days until freedom. Can't wait to let loose in AC with my girls. The post included a meme that read the best therapy is a girl's trip and a husband-free weekend. Her divorced friends commented immediately. Cheers to independence. And you deserve this, queen. I screenshot everything. That weekend, I checked our joint account and found $1,200 had been transferred to her personal checking. When I asked about it, she was dismissive. Trip expenses. I told you I was going. She couldn't itemize what the expenses were for, just insisted it was all necessary. 3 days before the trip, she announced she was bringing $800 cash for gambling. It's my birthday. I'm allowed to have fun. I reminded her we'd lost $600 last time she gambled. Her response? That's the point of gambling. You risk money. Don't be boring. 2 days before departure, I tried one last time to have a rational conversation about money. I sat her down at the kitchen table with all our statements spread out in front of us. Look at this, I said, pointing to the numbers. We're paying $900 a month just in minimum payments. That's not even touching the principal. She glanced at the papers and shrugged. So, lots of people have credit card debt. Lots of people aren't adding $6,000 to it in a single weekend. Her jaw tightened. You don't know it's going to be $6,000. You've already spent over $3,000 before even leaving. The hotel, the deposits, the new wardrobe, the spa appointments. I pulled out a calculator. 3 nights of dinners at expensive restaurants. That's at least $1,200. Casino gambling, you said $800. Drinks, shopping, activities, another $1,000 minimum. That's $6,000, and I'm being conservative. She stood up abruptly, knocking her chair back. You've already decided I'm going to be irresponsible. You've already made me the villain in your little story. I'm looking at the pattern. Miami was $1,800. Vegas before that was $2,200. Each trip costs more than the last. Because I deserve nice things. She was yelling now. I deserve to enjoy my life. I'm not going to sit around counting pennies like some old woman scared of living. There's a difference between living and being reckless. Oh, here we go. The responsible husband lecture. You know what? My friends were right about you. You don't want a wife. You want someone you can control. Someone who asks permission before buying a coffee. I want a partner who discusses major financial decisions. That's not control. That's marriage. Well, maybe I don't want that kind of marriage anymore. She grabbed her purse, her hands shaking with rage. Maybe I'm tired of justifying every single thing I do. Maybe I'm tired of living in a prison where I have to report my every move. Going to Atlantic City and spending thousands isn't about freedom. It's about proving something to your friends who've already destroyed their own marriages. Don't you dare talk about my friends. At least they support me. At least they want me to be happy. They want you to be miserable like them. They want you to blow up your marriage so they don't feel so bad about blowing up theirs. She stared at me with pure hatred in her eyes. You know what? I don't care what you think. I work. I earn. I spend. Stop acting like you're my father. I'm trying to be your husband. But you don't seem to want one of those anymore. Maybe I don't. She paused at the door, her voice dropping to something cold and final. Maybe I need this trip to figure out if this marriage is even worth staying in. She stormed out and stayed at her friend's house that night. I sat there looking at the numbers, knowing that conversation had sealed everything. She'd just told me she was done. Now I just needed to prepare for what came next. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't going to stop her. I was going to let her go and give her exactly what she wanted, complete freedom. While she was busy planning her rebellion disguised as a birthday celebration, I was planning something else entirely. The next morning, I called a divorce attorney a colleague had recommended. I walked into that office with a folder full of evidence that made the lawyer's eyes widen. Bank statements showing $12,400 in debt, credit card bills with purchases she'd hidden, screenshots of social media posts publicly disrespecting our marriage, browser history showing she'd been researching how to close joint accounts. This is textbook financial infidelity, the lawyer said. She's hiding purchases, making unilateral decisions, and planning to leave. The social media posts alone show a pattern of public disrespect that courts don't ignore. We spent 2 hours discussing my options. Separation of assets, protection of credit, divorce proceedings. Everything was legal, everything was justified, and everything was designed to protect me from the financial disaster she was creating. That afternoon, I met with our bank's financial advisor. Apparently, My wife had been there multiple times over the past month asking about account procedures, transfer limits, and how to set up automatic payments from our joint savings to her personal checking. The advisor looked uncomfortable sharing this information, but felt I needed to know. She seemed very interested in how quickly she could move large amounts of money without requiring your signature, he said quietly. So this Atlantic City trip wasn't just about her birthday. It was a test run for something bigger. She was planning her exit and intended to take as much of our money with her as possible. Next stop was our accountant, a friend who'd done our taxes for 5 years. I laid out the complete financial picture. He was brutally honest. She's spending like you make $300,000 a year. At this rate, you'll be bankrupt in 18 months. You need to protect yourself now. I spent the rest of that day reorganizing our financial life. I removed her as an authorized user on credit cards that were in my name. I opened a separate checking account and arranged for 60% of my paycheck to be deposited there. I documented every joint asset we owned and created a detailed inventory of all our possessions. I changed passwords on accounts where I was the primary holder. Everything I was doing was completely legal and well within my rights as someone protecting themselves from financial sabotage. Meanwhile, her social media countdown continued. She posted shopping bags, spa appointments, and excited messages about finally being free. Her friends encouraged every post, telling her she deserved this, that real men support their queens, that she shouldn't let negative energy dim her light. The day before she left, she was practically giddy with excitement. She packed her suitcases with all the new clothes, expensive shoes, and jewelry I'd bought her for previous birthdays. Everything valuable was going to Atlantic City so she could show off. I watched her load the car, acting completely normal. She seemed confused by my calm demeanor, but also pleased. See, this is the mature version of you I needed. Maybe I should go away more often. I smiled. Maybe you should. She had no idea what was waiting for her when she returned. Friday morning, she left at 10. She blew me a kiss, told me not to worry, said she'd bring me back a t-shirt or something. Then she posted from the road, Atlantic City bound. Next 3 days are about me. The moment her car disappeared around the corner, I made more calls. Credit card companies, investment accounts, insurance policies. By noon, I had changed every password, set up alerts for all account activity, and ensured she couldn't make any major financial moves without my knowledge. Then I sat back and watched her social media feed like it was a documentary about financial suicide. 2 p.m., checked into Borgata. This suite is insane. The photo showed a luxury suite that cost $400 per night. 3 nights, $1,200 just for the room. 3:30 p.m., champagne and strawberries in the suite. Room service bill I'd later see, $180. 5 p.m., getting ready photo showing full glam makeup and the new $300 dress. 7 p.m., dinner at Wolfgang Puck restaurant. The table was covered with expensive dishes, multiple bottles of wine. I estimated $400 minimum. 9 p.m., video at the casino floor betting $50 hands at blackjack. She was laughing, carefree, spending money like we were millionaires. 11 p.m., nightclub photo with bottle service. She was dancing with some guy her friends had apparently hired as a birthday surprise. The caption read, "Living my best life. No apologies." I screenshot every single post. Saturday morning brought more of the same. 10 a.m., hot stone massage and facial at the spa. 1 p.m., lunch at an expensive seafood restaurant on the pier. 3 p.m., shopping bags from designer outlets with the caption "Retail therapy hits different in AC." By evening, she was posting her second night outfit, an even more expensive dress I'd never seen before. Dinner at Bobby Flay Steak showed a $200 tomahawk ribeye on her plate. Then back to the casino where she posted a video showing $100 bets at roulette. At midnight, she posted the one that would eventually appear in divorce court. Who needs a husband when you have friends like these? Perfect. Around 1 a.m., she started texting me. "Why aren't you responding? You said you were fine with this trip." I waited until morning to reply. "I am fine. You're having your freedom. Enjoy it." Her response came quickly. "That sounds passive-aggressive." "Not at all," I wrote back. "I want you to experience complete independence. Have fun." She didn't text again for hours. My genuine-sounding support was confusing her. Saturday afternoon, I got a call from our credit card company. Fraud alert on the joint Visa. It wasn't fraud, Just my wife attempting a $1,500 purchase at a jewelry store. I declined to authorize the limit increase. Her card was declined. I created a spreadsheet tracking every post with estimated costs. Running total, $3,847 spent in 2 days, and she still had one more day to go. Sunday started with brunch photos at Scarborough Fair, followed by a private pool cabana rental for the afternoon. Then final shopping trips and a farewell dinner at Old Homestead Steakhouse. That's when my phone rang. She was crying, drunk, desperate. My card was declined again. This is so embarrassing. Can you call the credit card company and fix whatever's wrong? Which card? I asked calmly. The joint Visa. I'm trying to pay for dinner for all of us. The waiter is standing here waiting. How much is dinner? $840 with drinks and tip. That's more than our weekly grocery budget for a single meal. It's my birthday. She was screaming now, and I could hear her friends in the background telling her to calm down. Just fix the card. What is wrong with you? The card isn't broken. You've maxed it out. That's impossible. There's a $10,000 limit. There was. I lowered it to $5,000, and you've spent $4,920. The screaming that followed was predictable. You lowered my limit? How dare you? You can't do that without telling me. That's my card. It's our card. In my name. With you as an authorized user. And I absolutely can adjust the limit to protect our financial future. I can't believe you're doing this to me. I'm sitting here in front of my friends and the entire restaurant staff, and my card doesn't work. Do you know how humiliating this is? About as humiliating as watching your wife post about not needing a husband while spending $6,000 of our money in 3 days. There was a pause, and I could hear her talking to someone else, her voice muffled. Then she came back on, and her tone had shifted from rage to manipulation. Baby, please. I'm sorry I yelled, but I really need you to help me out here. I promise when I get home we'll sit down and make a budget together. I'll cut back. But right now I just need you to call the credit card company and increase the limit so I can pay for this dinner. Please, use your personal account. The one you've been transferring money to. There was a long pause. That money was for other things. I need that for when I get home. For what? I already know you were planning to use it to open your own apartment, so don't lie to me. I could hear her breathing getting faster, panicking. Who told you that? Does it matter? You've been planning your exit for weeks. This whole trip was never about your birthday. It was about testing whether I'd let you destroy our finances while you prepared to leave. That's not. You're twisting everything. I wasn't. I just wanted some independence. Well, here it is. Independence means paying your own bills. So either use your personal account or ask one of your successful, independent friends to cover the dinner they helped you rack up. But I need that money. You don't understand. Then I guess you should have thought about that before betting $100 a hand at roulette. Figure it out. Wait, don't you dare hang up on me. Don't you? I hung up. She called back 6 times. I didn't answer. Let her figure out what real independence felt like when the credit card stopped working and her friends suddenly couldn't afford to help. Sunday evening, I finalized everything. 43 social media posts documented. Total estimated spending, $6,240 in 3 days. Divorce paperwork reviewed and ready to file. Her belongings neatly packed in the guest room. All passwords changed. Financial protection in place. I was ready for her return. Monday afternoon, she walked through the door looking exhausted and hungover. She immediately launched into complaints about how I'd embarrassed her, how her friends thought I was controlling, how I'd ruined her birthday weekend. Do you have any idea what you put me through? She dropped her bags dramatically. I had to borrow money from my friends to pay for dinner. Me. I had to beg them for money like some broke teenager. How much did they lend you? That's not the point. The point is you humiliated me. How much? She hesitated. For 100. Each friend put in 100, and I covered the rest from my account. So your independent friends who are always posting about supporting each other couldn't even cover a full dinner check. Interesting. You're missing the point. You sabotaged my trip. I sat down, gesturing to the chair across from me. Sit down. We need to talk. I don't want to talk. I want you to explain why you thought it was okay to cut off my access to our money while I was 3 hours away from home. Sit down. Something in my voice made her comply. She sat, arms crossed defensively, jaw tight with anger. I placed the printed spreadsheet on the table. Every social media post, printed with date stamps and estimated costs. Total spending, $6,240. Then the credit card statements showing the secret cash advances. The browser history printouts showing her research on separating our finances. Her face went pale as she looked at the evidence spread across the table. What is this? This is documentation. Every post you made, every dollar you spent, every lie you told. She picked up one of the printouts with shaking hands. You've been stalking my social media? You've been tracking my spending like some kind of psycho? You posted everything publicly. I just documented it. And yes, I tracked our spending because someone needs to care about whether we end up bankrupt. These numbers are exaggerated, she said, her voice weaker now. It wasn't that much. I showed her the receipts from our joint account, the exact charges on every credit card. Room service at the Borgata, $180. Dinner at Wolfgang Puck for $137. Spa treatment, $350. Shopping at the outlets, $620. Casino losses, $915. Should I keep going? It was my birthday. I'm allowed to celebrate. You celebrated yourself into $6,240 of debt in 72 hours. I pulled out another statement. We have $12,400 in credit card debt. 70% of it is from your celebrations in the last 6 months. She shifted tactics immediately, her voice rising. You're being controlling. You lowered my credit limit without telling me. What kind of husband does that? You opened a credit card without telling me. I slid that statement across the table. You researched closing our joint accounts without telling me. I showed her the browser history. You transferred $1,200 without discussing it. You made cash advances totaling $1,200 behind my back. What kind of wife does that? That's different. Those were MY decisions about MY life. And lowering the limit was MY decision about MY credit score that your spending affects. You don't get to hide debt, and then call me controlling when I protect myself from your recklessness. She stood up, started pacing. My friends said you'd act like this. They warned me you were financially abusive. This is exactly what they said would happen. Your friends. I pulled out my phone and started reading from screenshots. Let's talk about your friends for a minute. Friend number 1 is on her second divorce, living in her sister's basement, and hasn't paid her own rent in 8 months. Friend number 2 posts daily about her ex-husband while asking her parents for money to cover her car payment. Friend number 3 blew through $60,000 in divorce settlement money in 8 months and is now working at Target to make ends meet. Don't you dare judge them. They have 7 divorces between the 3 of them, 7 failed marriages. And they've been encouraging you to destroy your marriage so you can join their bitter singles club. I paused. Did any of them offer to help when your card was declined? Did any of them volunteer to cover that $800 dinner bill? She was silent, her face flushing. They each threw in $100 after you begged them. $200 less than what you spent on a single spa treatment. Those are your role models. Those are the women telling you I'm abusive for caring about our financial survival. The guilt trip came next. I can't believe you're making my birthday trip into something ugly. I didn't make it ugly. I let you go. I let you have complete freedom. I protected us from bankruptcy. There's a difference. Then bargaining. Okay, fine. I spent too much. I'll cut back. I'll return some stuff. You wore the clothes. Posted photos in them. You can't return them. Then I'll pick up extra shifts. I'll make it up. At your current spending rate, you'll need to work 200 extra hours to break even. Finally came the tears. I just wanted to have fun with my friends. Why are you being so mean? I sat there in silence, watching her cry. She looked up at me with genuine fear. Say something. You're scaring me. I'm not being mean. I'm being realistic. And you're right to be scared. She slumped back into the chair, tears starting. I just wanted to have fun with my friends. Why are you being so mean to me? Why are you attacking me like this? I'm not attacking you. I'm showing you facts. Numbers don't lie, and neither does your browser history. What browser history? I showed her the printout. Research on how to close joint bank accounts. Articles about financial independence from your spouse. Divorce attorney websites. An apartment rental site with 3 properties saved. All from our shared laptop. All from 2 weeks before your trip. Her hand flew to her mouth. You went through my computer? Our computer. And yes, when I noticed $1,200 missing from our savings and a mysterious new credit card, I looked for answers. I found them. I was just looking. Doesn't mean I was actually going to do anything. You transferred $1,200 into your personal account. You opened a credit card I knew nothing about. You maxed it out before even leaving for Atlantic City. And you told me before you left that you needed this trip to figure out if the marriage was worth staying in. Those aren't the actions of someone just looking. She started crying harder now. Okay, fine. I spent too much. I'll cut back. I'll return some stuff. We can fix this. I'll do whatever you want. You wore the clothes. Posted photos in them. You can't return them. Then I'll pick up extra shifts at work. I'll make it up. Just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. At your current spending rate and salary, you'll need to work 200 extra hours just to break even on this one trip. That's not even counting the other 12,000 in debt. So what do you want from me? She was sobbing now, makeup running down her face. What do you want me to say? I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. Don't say that. Please don't say that. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. Work through what? You publicly stating you don't need a husband? You spending us into bankruptcy? You planning to leave, but wanting to take all our money with you first? I wasn't planning to leave. I just wanted options. Options. That's an interesting word for plotting your exit strategy while maxing out our credit cards. You're twisting everything. You're making me sound like some kind of monster. I'm not twisting anything. I'm reading your own words back to you. I'm showing you your own spending. I'm presenting evidence of your own plans. Then I pulled out the folder. While you were posting about freedom, I was documenting everything. I opened it to show lawyer consultation notes, financial advisor meeting summaries, divorce paperwork already drafted and ready to file. While you were celebrating independence, I was meeting with attorneys. While you were dancing with strangers and posting about not needing a husband, I was speaking with professionals about not needing a wife who treats our marriage like a joke. Her face went completely white as she looked at the legal documents with her name on them. You're not. She could barely get the words out. You can't be serious about divorce. You posted, who needs a husband when you have friends like these? You answered your own question. That was just a joke. Social media stuff. Everyone posts things like that. Everyone didn't try to transfer $5,000 from our savings without telling their spouse. Everyone didn't open secret credit cards. Everyone didn't spend $6,240 in 3 days while posting about being free from their marriage. But I love you. I don't want a divorce. You love my financial stability. You love having someone to bail you out when your cards get declined. You love having a safety net while you play at independence. That's not the same as loving me. That's not fair. That's not true. Before you left, you said you needed this trip to figure out if this marriage was even worth staying in. Remember that? She nodded, crying too hard to speak. Well, I spent the weekend figuring out the same thing from my side. And I realized something important. I don't want to be married to someone who has to choose between respecting me and having fun. Fun shouldn't require disrespecting your spouse. Celebration shouldn't require financial sabotage. Birthday trips shouldn't cost $6,000 we don't have. I'll change. I promise I'll change. I'll stop hanging out with those friends. I'll close the credit card. I'll give you all the passwords. Just please don't do this. It's too late for that. You can't unspend the money. You can't unpublish the posts. You can't take back telling me you weren't sure if our marriage was worth staying in. And most importantly, you can't rebuild trust that's been completely destroyed. So that's it. 7 years of marriage and you're just done? You were done weeks ago. You just wanted to take half our money with you when you left. I'm not letting that happen. She reached for my hand across the table. I was wrong. I was so wrong about everything. Please, we can fix this. I pulled my hand away. The papers will be served this week. Every social media post, every purchase, every public humiliation of our marriage had been documented and cataloged. Her Atlantic City trip wasn't a celebration of independence. It was comprehensive evidence of why our marriage was over. I want a divorce, she finally said, like it was some kind of threat. I figured you would. The papers will be served this week. The look of shock on her face told me everything. She'd expected me to panic, to beg her to reconsider, to promise I'd change. Instead, I was the one filing. You wanted to find out if this marriage was worth staying in. You said that before you left. Well, I spent the weekend figuring out the same thing. And I realized something. I don't want to be married to someone who has to choose between respecting me and having fun. Fun shouldn't require disrespecting your spouse. Celebration shouldn't require financial sabotage. You got your freedom. Now you get to keep it. She spent the next week trying everything. Monday night, she stayed at a friend's house and sent 47 text messages ranging from apologetic to threatening. Tuesday, she showed up at my work crying, begging to talk. I had security escort her out. Wednesday, her mother called asking me to give her another chance. I politely declined. Thursday, her friends started calling, alternating between calling me abusive and begging me to talk to her. Friday, she stood on our front lawn, crying while neighbors watched. Saturday, her sister called saying she was a mess and wanted to fix things. Sunday, she sent a long email admitting everything, promising to change, begging for marriage counseling. I responded with one line, "I believe you're sorry. But sorry doesn't erase the disrespect or the debt." The papers will be served this week. A month later, the divorce was in motion. She was living with the friend who was between jobs, still making minimum payments on the debt. Her Atlantic City photos were still on social media because they were her memories. Her friends were starting to distance themselves now that she needed actual help instead of just encouragement to spend money. She posted once, "Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone." No more party posts. No more independence celebrations. Just quiet desperation. The divorce took 3 months to finalize. Forensic accounting showed she was responsible for 70% of our marital debt. The judge wasn't sympathetic to her $6,000 birthday celebration or her claims that I was controlling. The court hearing was particularly revealing. Her lawyer tried to paint me as financially abusive for lowering the credit limit. My lawyer simply presented the evidence: the secret credit card, the browser history showing her exit planning, the social media posts, and the spending breakdown. "Your Honor," my lawyer said calmly, "the respondent spent $6,240 in 72 hours while posting publicly about not needing her husband. She opened credit cards without his knowledge, researched how to drain their joint accounts, and attempted to transfer $5,000 without his consent. My client's actions were defensive, not controlling." The judge looked at my wife over her reading glasses. "Ma'am, did you or did you not post on social media?" And I quote, "Who needs a husband when you have friends like these?" My wife's face reddened. "That was taken out of context. It was just a joke." Was opening a $7,500 line of credit without your husband's knowledge also a joke? "No, Your Honor, but..." Was researching how to close joint bank accounts behind his back a joke? "I was just looking at options." Was spending more than $6,000 in 3 days on a birthday trip while your family had $12,000 in existing credit card debt a responsible financial decision? My wife was silent. The judge continued, "I've reviewed the financial records, the social media posts, and the testimony. This is one of the clearest cases of financial misconduct I've seen. Your husband took reasonable steps to protect marital assets from reckless spending. You, on the other hand, demonstrated a pattern of deception and financial irresponsibility. She was ordered to pay back the money she'd tried to take from savings, responsible for all the debt she'd accumulated on her secret credit cards, and required to compensate me for my legal fees. She kept her car that she was still making payments on. I kept the house and retirement accounts. Her lawyer advised her to settle rather than appeal. The evidence was overwhelming," he told her in the hallway while I waited. "You posted your misconduct on social media. You documented your own case against yourself." When the judge asked if she had anything to say before finalizing the decree, she looked at me with tears streaming down her face. "I never meant for it to go this far. I just wanted to feel free." The judge's response was measured but firm. "Freedom comes with responsibility. You're free now. You're also responsible for the consequences of your choices." Decree granted. 6 months after Atlantic City, she's still calling. 2 or 3 times a week, my old phone number buzzes with her attempts to reach me. I don't answer, but I see the voicemails pile up. The messages evolved over time. First month, "Please talk to me. I miss you. I was wrong." Second month, "You're really not going to forgive me? After 7 years?" Third month, "I'm struggling with these debt payments. Can we work something out?" Fourth month, "I see you deleted all our photos. Are you really moving on?" Fifth month, "My friends were wrong about everything. You were right." Sixth month, "I drive by the house sometimes. Do you ever think about me?" She's working full-time plus weekend catering shifts to make her debt payments. Still living with her friend, though that relationship is strained. $340 a month in minimum payments. No more spa days, shopping trips, or girls' weekends. Her friends rarely call anymore. They've moved on to encouraging another coworker's independence journey. She made her social media private and deleted all the Atlantic City posts after her lawyer said they looked bad in court. Meanwhile, I'm having dinner with someone new. Someone who works in financial planning and understands the value of a dollar. Someone who discusses decisions instead of announcing them. My house is redecorated, all traces of her removed. My emergency fund is rebuilding. I changed my number months ago. She doesn't have it. The old phone sits in a drawer, used only to track spam calls. Tonight it buzzed 8 times. 8 missed calls. 1 voicemail. I don't listen to it, just delete it without a second thought. But I know what it says because they all say the same thing now. Some version of I understand now. I get it. I'm sorry. She wanted to find out what freedom felt like. Now she knows. It feels like calling a disconnected number, hoping someone will answer. It feels like working 2 jobs to pay for memories you can't enjoy anymore. It feels like watching your old life through someone else's window while you sit alone in a borrowed bedroom. Freedom came with a price tag. She just couldn't afford it. And she can't stop calling to tell me that. But some calls aren't worth answering. Some freedom is worth more than any price. I learned that lesson in Atlantic City without ever leaving home.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.